If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. Okay, so Polo G just dropped this new deluxe album, Hall of Fame 2.0, that he kind of marketed as a new album in a way. It wasn't supposed to be just a deluxe to the original Hall of Fame that dropped earlier this year, but rather like an actual standalone project that is just tied to the original. And I've made a lot of videos leading up to this thing, and I also expressed my expectations for this thing on quite a few occasions actually, and y'all know that I was looking forward to this because I wasn't as much of a fan of the original Hall of Fame record. I just thought that he could have done more out of his comfort zone. It was just a lot of the, typical piano G type of instrumentals and flows that he did over there. Of course, some very interesting moments like Bloody Canvas, some great storytelling on there. I think, him stepping out of his comfort zone, it's always a good thing. So I was looking forward to this deluxe of it, or the 2.0, quite a lot. And we had that first single, Batman Smooth Criminal, with the Michael Jackson sample and interpolation that y'all know I was a big fan of, so I had some expectations for this thing. We also saw that he had quite, a few features on here, Lil Baby, which I was very excited for, Moneybagg Yo, Young Liv, Nle Chapa, and Lil TJ, all of which, could potentially make a banger with Polo G. So let's actually go through the track list and see what I thought about a lot of these tracks and what I think about this thing in general. So the track list starts off with the track already mentioned, Bad Man, which I was very much a fan of, and then we directly go into the track with Lil Baby, Don't Play. And this is a pretty solid track. I have nothing against it. I maybe would have wished for the Baby feature to go a little bit harder. I maybe would have wished for the instrumental to be a bit darker. It's actually quite, bouncy and uplifting, and I think their verses would have fit better on a more dark and more energetic instrumental. But with that track, I have no problem. It could have been a lot better, let me say that, but in itself, it's not a bad track. Then we have Start Up Again with Moneybagg Yo. Again, a very solid track. He can do nothing wrong with these types of tracks, but there we already get to the problem. This is a lot of the stuff that we've already seen on the original Hall of Fame that I had some problems with, because a lot of these tracks we've just heard before and they are pretty interchangeable. I did like Heating Up with Young Liv. This was actually the first time that I got to experience Young Liv. He's an artist signed to Polo G. So, I was quite excited for this, and that track, was the first one that was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to this. Of course, the Baby track as well, but as like individually outstanding tracks. Then Black Men in America, I thought also featured some great vibes on there. Young and Dumb was this, he wanted to make like a melodic hook with it. He also dropped a video for it that you can go watch. So I like what he tried to do with it. I just think that if he wants to go for a track that's maybe like, gonna go to the charts and people are gonna do some TikToks too and whatever, this should have been a lot more professional, because a lot of the times the mixing and just the song structure is a very basic Polo G, and if it was just a bit more professionally mixed and it sounded a bit more professional, I think this track could go even bigger than it is probably already going. The next track was Unapologetic with Nle Chapa, and a lot of you guys had been hitting me up about this and saying that the leaks we got so far and what y'all heard, this track was going to be the hardest on the album and, what most people were looking forward to. And so maybe it was because I went into the song with these expectations and these ideas in my head that we were going to get this really hard-hitting track that I was just a little bit disappointed. I mean, don't get me wrong, the song is going pretty hard and Nle definitely delivers on here, but I just thought it would go a lot harder than it did, honestly. But as I said, it was probably just because I went into the song with these expectations in my head, and I'm happy if y'all are enjoying the track and if it's everything that y'all been looking forward to and that it's everything that you have been expecting from the leaks. Then a couple of solo tracks again, Fortnite, Decisions, With You, and Parting Ways. I especially like Decisions. I thought that more, sentimental, emotional touch to the instrumental did fit his voice and his style style pretty well, so this is definitely a track that I'll be going back to and with you as well. I thought that was also a pretty solid track as far as solo Polo G tracks go, so those two are probably my favorite from these, just solo tracks. Suicide with Lil TJ was also a track that a lot of people have been looking forward to because obviously Polo G and Lil TJ were the duo behind Pop Out, which elevated both of their careers to the next level and to like actual stardom. So of course people were, looking out for this track, and it was pretty good. Again, nothing like special. This won't go #1. This won't be the next Pop Out, but for everybody that's enjoying the two of them, this is probably a good track to go to. But again, the same problem I had with the tracks before, also with the one with Lil Baby. It's just like those were the types of tracks we were expecting when we saw those titles on the track list and those features. It's nothing special. It's nothing that is gonna go super viral and go #1 in the charts. It's nothing that will elevate him artistically to the next level. So in a way, I'm disappointed because that was the expectations I was going into this deluxe with. But of course, for Polo G fans, they probably really like this because that's the style that they fell in love with him for. But for someone looking from the outside, I would have just wished for him to maybe, again, I say this a lot, but step out of his comfort zone a little bit. Now, one ironic track I find, also in connection with the things I just said, Piano G obviously playing on the meme and on like the perception that Polo G just hops on like piano tracks, piano trap tracks. Piano G is actually the track, and I do like this one. I thought this was going to be another basic track, just judging from the title, obviously, but I actually do really enjoy this track, and this is also one of the few ones that I have in my liked songs that I'm going to go back to. The album then closes out with Alright, another kind of forgettable track, but I get if some people like it. So all in all, this album, he did it in a way that he couldn't really do any wrong with it, or he didn't really leave a lot of space for people to criticize it because it was just what we would have expected from this Polo G deluxe. But that is also the problem that I see with it as a non-Polo G stan, but as someone just looking at his career from the outside and seeing like, yeah, maybe if he wants to really last in this game, of course people are talking about him as the leader of this new generation, so he's not going he's not going anywhere anytime soon. But still, I do want to see some more variation, some more experimentation from him on his next album. I do think that we do see progression from Legend to the GOAT to now Hall of Fame. I do agree with that. But it just, maybe with this deluxe, I was just wishing for too much, then he didn't come through with it. But maybe, it's just leading up to the new album that we're gonna get maybe sometime next year, and on there, then I can find my satisfaction with Polo G's artistic development. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this, obviously. Now I want to know what you think about this. Did you like this new deluxe, this new album, Hall of Fame 2.0? What were your favorite tracks? What were your least favorite tracks? What tracks had you been looking forward to? The Lil Baby one, the Unapologetic one, the Piano G one? Just let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.